This video is going to be used to explain redundancy in cloud computing. When you have a system that tracks data and information, you start with the data layer. The next layer is a processing layer that most is commonly called business rules. And the final layer is a client layer that the user interacts with. And then the user's machine usually calls it remotely. In the case of a web server, and it would call it remotely. In the case of a Windows app, it would actually be on the computer. Now, we can see this stacked together, and what we have is the client talking to the web, and that talking to the service layer, and that talking to the database layer. So there's quite a bit of action going on between these guys. Now the problem is, if this goes down, if the website goes down, then they lose access. If the service access goes down, then they lose access. And if the data layer goes down, they lose access. So there's a lot of points of failure in this. So next, what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and cluster it and have multiple data servers, have multiple service layers, and have multiple browsing layers. Now, when the client accesses this, if one of these browser sessions goes down, then it can still recover and go to a different one. And the same thing with this. If one of the service layers go down, it can recover it. Now, and another advantage of this is if you have hundreds of users here, then they can start using all these objects over and over and over on each layer. And usually COM+ is used to manage that interaction, where it does application pooling. Now the other problem you can have is, let's say for instance the servers running this all had a big outage. Let's say a plane hit it and it blew it up. Well, the client just lost connectivity if that happens. And while it's rare, disasters do happen. Just like recently Microsoft had a problem down in Southern California, and they were off for quite a while. Well, maybe like a few hours or so. But that's a long time if you're wanting to get in your email. So okay, next we're going to look at having multiple sites. So in this case we have 1, 2, 3 different sites, all with redundant configurations, and one client. Now what will happen here is the client will try the first one, and if it doesn't work, then it'll try the second, doesn't try the third. So if this site gets hit with something and it goes down, then it can still be recovered from the other two. Another use in this is if you have load balancing. So if you have an application here that looks at all 3 of these different data centers and figures out which one is the least busy, then it can figure out which one to go to first. And another use in doing it this way is that you can dedicate certain people to certain data centers. So if you have users on the East Coast and this is your East Coast data server, you may want to put all those people on that one and just use the other ones as failovers in case that one goes down.